The primary consideration for any incident for us in the fire department is life safety. Anytime you involve a child in that kind of an emergency, in a critical emergency, the stress for the rescuer goes up. Obviously, the emotional stress for the family goes up, and the emotional stress for the rescuers too, because we all have kids, or we're around kids if we don't have kids. So we all can understand and relate to the trauma that you would have to go through to see a child injured. We have a saying in the fire department: you risk a little to save a little, you risk a lot to save a lot, and lives for us are a lot.
Firefighters across San Mateo County and the Lucille Packard Children's Hospital at Stanford have partnered up this month for a pediatric emergency education program. Chief Chamomire, Michael Jacobs, a pre-hospital care coordinator, and Linda Knight, a life support and resuscitation educator, created the Pediatric Advanced Workshop with Simulation program to try and improve medical care for children. For Jacobs, the key to the program's real-world application is its ability to break down the walls between healthcare personnel.
One of our still largest challenges today in emergency medical services is bridging the gap for a more seamless continuity of care from dispatch to discharge. John and I and Linda sat down and started brainstorming some ideas on how we could incorporate some of Packard's training strategies along with some EMS integration and try to dovetail the continuity of care from the field, from the EMS perspective, right into the emergency department and into the ICU if warranted.
By October's end, over 200 firefighters will receive training. The emergency simulations the trainees faced are based on real headlight-making accidents and utilize high-tech mannequins. Knight says the mannequins make the drills much more realistic.
The mannequins that we're using consist of high fidelity and mid fidelity, meaning that some of them are a little bit more progressive than the others, but most of them all breathe, they have breath sounds, they can needle the chest, they can put IVs in, they can put interosseous access in, intubate them, put an advanced airway in them, so they give them the practice time of advanced skills.
Firefighters are required to take training courses every other year. Chamomire says the program offers firefighters a chance to sharpen their skill sets and practice critical thinking during the gap years of education. Dr. Bernard Dannenberg, director of the hospital's Pediatric Emergency Center, feels it is his duty to help train first responders.
First responders need to have adequate training in order to quickly assess a situation, because critical children might not make it alive to the hospital. It is always an old saying in our medical field that the children are just small adults, but they aren't.
Dr. Saraswati Kache, the medical director of the program, echoes the sentiment.
I would refute the notion that children are little adults. I think they're completely different entities. One simple example of how a child is not like an adult. A normal heart rate for you and me may be 60 or 65. A normal heart rate for that 2-year-old may be 120. For you and me, 120 is a really bad sign, but it isn't for that 2-year-old. So I think to say that children are like little adults isn't really fair.
Due to a loss of funding, the Central County firefighters who financed the program were forced to cancel it last year. Firefighter engineer paramedic Craig Hogan of the San Mateo Fire Department is one of the program's returning trainees.
I was here in 2008. I thought it was a great experience. It provided some more real-life training as opposed to sitting in a sterile classroom and approaching it from that side of it. A large percentage of our calls are medical aids, but as far as dealing with pediatrics, it's still a pretty small percentage. But usually they're the most urgent when we do get there.
This is Arti Patel reporting for the Peninsula Press.